So we're into early March now. The daffs are coming up. There's some new shoots on the roses, so it looks like spring has finally sprung, so that's great news. The plan today is to make a bowl out of this piece of sycamore. Now the sycamore is about 16 centimetres in diameter and 5.5 centimetres deep, and the idea is to create a bowl with quite a large rim, and I'm going to use a texturing tool to put some texture in there, and then I'm going to have a go filling that texture with Milliput to see how that works out, and I might do a bit of staining as well, but I'm not too sure. And what I've started to do now is, before embarking on any piece of work, is I'm filling in this form I've created, and it details sort of like a rough design and a bit of a plan in terms of what I'm going to actually do. But down here, when I'm actually making the piece on the lathe, I'm going to write down exactly what I did do, so I can refer to that in the future if I want to sort of make something similar, so if that makes sense. So anyway, we'll see how we get on. So it's screw chuck mounted, and we're just going to true up the face and the side. Took a bit of truing up actually, but it's probably due to that knot being there. Anyway, we got there in the end. So I've decided to put a dovetail in here, so I'm just going to mark a 50mm circle. .600 revs. So now I'm going to start shaping the bowl. About 800 revs. So I've decided to change the design of the dovetail slightly, so I've cut it in a bit more and left a bit protruding here, and I've just shaped the foot of the bowl a bit better. So now it's for sanding really. Make sure you got a dust mask, and away we go. starting with 180 grit. And we'll go right through to 400. Okay, I've sanded to 400. I quite like this knot, so I'm not going to do any staining. What I'm going to do is put a couple of lines in here with the detail point tool, and then do a bit of pyrography, you know, put my name and the date and stuff like that in there before we apply the sanding sealer. Okay, now for some cellulose sanding sealer. So we'll let that dry and apply another coat. Now some Yorkshire grit. So finished with wood wax 22 and Hampshire Sheen microcrystalline wax. Now we need to mark out the top of the bowl. So on this scrap piece of wood I've marked out the same size area that I'm going to put this pattern here. So that area there is exactly the same size as that area there. So what I'm going to do before I actually do anything on this piece, I'm going to try some cuts on here to make sure I'm happy with the angle of the tool and the pattern it's making. So I've tried the tool out cutting at that angle and I get quite a nice pattern. So I think I shall live with that. So we'll go with that setting on the proper piece and see what happens. So that's the result I've achieved with the tool on the same settings. Don't look too bad, so the idea will be to fill that with Milliput. Right then, I'm a little concerned about the proportions of this. But we'll carry on and see where we end up. I've counted that there are 20 of these sort of cuts in the top, and what I've decided to do is to put some black and terracotta Milliput in these, so they go black, terracotta, etc. So I've mixed the black and made some sort of small bits of it. This is a tip that Jim Overton gave me. So if you make them nice and small like that, then you can fit them into the cracks a little bit better. So, and I am concerned that these indents aren't going to be sort of deep enough to hold a milliput. But unless we try it, we'll never know. Okay, now the terracotta. Well, if this works, it'll be an absolute miracle. If not, we'll go to plan B, whatever that is. Okay, so 24 hours on and the milliput's dried, so we're going to have a go at the reveal. So I'm using a skew chisel and see how we get on with this. Okay, I'm just going to try this round nose scrape. Okay, I'm going to do a bit of sanding now. Okay, I've sanded to 400 and I'm quite amazed with the result really. So what I'm going to do now is just to put 2 lines here and another line where it's going to denote where I'm going to do the carving out of the bow. So this is a 3/8 bow gouge. Okay, that's actually produced a really super fine finish just on that 3/8 bowl gouge. Anyway, I'm going to sand, start at 240 and up to 400. So I've finished with sanding sealer, Yorkshire grit, wood wax 22 and Hampshire sheen microcrystalline wax, and I'm extremely happy with the result. Well, that's the bowl finished, and I'm extremely happy in the way it's come out. I think the pattern has worked very well. I'm amazed the Milliput stayed in those shallow cuts. So overall I'm very pleased. Not too sure how functional it is as a bow, but apart from that I'm happy with the result.